you wrote recently a blog post about olfactory training to assist anosmia. And this was a really great blog post.
Thank you.
And I wanted to take a portion of the interview to focus on it. And so firstly, can you explain, in case our audience doesn't know, what anosmia is and why it may occur?
So anosmia is a functional loss of your sense of smell. There are different etiologies of your sense of smell. So if we talk about normosmia, that's the normal functioning of sense of smell. There's a spectrum. There are tests that you can take to see where your sense of smell is. And the tests usually look at the threshold, meaning how strong a smell has to be for you to detect it, and identification and determination, meaning can you say what this smell is and can you distinguish it from a different smell? So there's levels at which you have a normally functioning sense of smell, and if it decreases, you go to hyposmia, which means a diminished ability to smell. So you're not completely nose blind, you can still detect some smells, some odors, but it's not, it's diminished. And if you lose your sense of smell, meaning that you basically cannot detect any smells, any odors, that's when we call it anosmia, meaning you have lost your sense of smell. So it's functional loss of smell. It can happen from various reasons. It can happen because you suffered a trauma, meaning that the olfactory nerves have been severed and they no longer connect from your nose to your brain. This is usually irreversible. It can happen after an infection, which is very common, and it's much more common now because COVID-19, one of the symptoms is loss of smell, which brought anosmia much more to the forefront, and people are much more aware of that. Before that, it was very under researched. The numbers were underreported because doctors didn't know how to test for it, didn't know to ask for it, which is kind of a symptom of how we underappreciate the sense of smell in general. But COVID kind of silver linings, right? COVID brought this to the forefront. So now people are interested in anosmia and are interested more in finding ways to treat it. But most anosmics lost their sense of smell after a viral infection of the upper respiratory tract. Sometimes it's short term, sometimes it's much more longer term.
And is the reason why a lot of people have anosmia from COVID, is it because COVID really impacts the respiratory system?
Actually, with COVID, it's impacting the receptors in your olfactory bulb. It's not just the fact that you have sinus congestion and you have a lot of mucus in your nose, as is kind of common with any cold. If you have a runny nose, your sense of smell will be diminished, but this is different. I do not remember exactly the mechanisms, but Dr. Petra Artaitz, one of our tutors, has made a short video about that. So we have that on the tisserandinstitute.org website. She explains the mechanisms, or as they're thought to be, but COVID seems to be attacking the olfactory receptors, actually, not just, it's not just the inflammation. It's the fact that it just kind of works with that too.
Yeah. And I've also read a couple of articles about COVID and the trigeminal nerve, right? Yeah. That it sets the trigeminal nerve, which is the part of our, I guess you could say, olfactory system that detects temperature. And that when some people who've had COVID actually constantly smell bad things, or they smell good things and it smells like fish or something like this. Yeah. And I've read that that's partly due also to trigeminal dysfunction. Could you say that?
Well, the trigeminal nerve is a part of, the technical term is chemosensory system. Yeah. So sensing chemicals, and trigeminal nerve is the one that will alert you to really bad stuff like ammonia or mustard, or, something that's really pungent and you need so your alert system that the olfactory system already is, your alert system needs to go to 1,000 immediately. It needs to go, abort, whatever you're doing, get away from here, because this thing is really bad. So yes, the impact is there. And what you mentioned, the distorted sense of smell, that is more of a symptom of the nerve damage, or you're basically confusing the signals, and it's called parosmia, which is, you smell something but it registers as something else. Unfortunately, most of the time it's something unpleasant. It's not like, it would be nice if it was the other way around, like you smell unpleasant things but they smell like roses, but it just makes everything smell bad.